We are finally back in Way of the Hunter, and yes, we are back once again on Nez Perce Valley. I just can't help it, I like this map too much, and I've really been wanting to get back to deer hunting a little bit. We've had great success as of late with elk. We got ourselves a 5-star mountain goat, another 5-star bighorn, but we haven't had too much luck with the deer species, and I figured probably the best way to try to do that would be to hunt around in the diamond drill area, and I found that we had those two 5-star mule deer down in the southeast corner, and we kind of just only gravitated to that spot. And we haven't hunted this area all that thoroughly, so that's going to be the plan today. And we'll see if we can find anything good. And it just about figures. The first thing we encounter is a group of elk, so I guess it's not going to matter what we target. We're just going to continue to find those, but they're in kind of a weird spot. The way the land lays, if we get down into there, they're going to be completely obscured, so we might just try to make a judgment from here and hope that we can pick out one with kind of subpar genetics. That one looks okay. The rest are kind of not that good. Now, even though he's laying down, that one's pretty broadside, so maybe we can attempt that. The zeroing range is 546, and they're right about 550, so I think that can work. Let's go prone to try to get a more kind of steady shot, and if we can... because yeah, that one actually does look decent. We'll try to go ahead and hit this guy. I don't know that I've shot a laying down animal in Way of the Hunter yet, so hopefully that's going to be fine, and it looks like he's hit pretty good. So, decent-ish start outside of the fact that it's not the species that we're after. We'll go over there and see if we can find him. It is crazy, though. When you shoot that far away and we can see kind of that pinkish blood, they really do, like, not know what happened as much, and I think that's cool. Now, this is incredibly nitpicky, but Way the Hunter has accomplished so much realism with this game that I imagine they could find a way to make this work as well. I would love to see fatally wounded animals run downhill. Usually in real life that's what happens, is obviously less effort to go downhill, and that's normally what they'll do. You can see this guy obviously went uphill from the time that we shot him, and again, they've accomplished so much in realism, I just feel like they could probably find out a way to do that as well. But as for now, we shot, as we got a little lag as we claimed that guy, a 51% mature. That was actually a really good decision. Perfect one to take out, 1-star obviously. So let's sell that, and hopefully we get on to some deer from this point. I'm trying to get to like some of the darker areas of the map that we haven't been to in this region, and who knows, it could be anything out here. Now this is a little more like what I was hoping to see, and maybe not the 1-star mature side of it, but just the whitetail in general. We just haven't run into that many herds, and this herd, at least at first glance, maybe isn't the best, but at least a little management here could help us out, and I guess we'll try to get the mature. We have a 1-star adult and a 1-star young, and as long as he'll step back out, which I think he should, even though the wind is not that great, we'll try to catch him in there through that window. The wind is doing us no favors here, but I think we can make that shot. Bit of an odd angle, but I think I see pink blood, and we're going to try to watch and see where he goes at least as much as we can. It's going to be probably a tougher track, but no doubt he's going to be going down. That's not quite where we want that, but somewhere right over in there. And even still, as anticipated, bit of a tougher track just going through some of this terrain, but we don't actually see a lot of 1-star mature whitetail. A lot of times we'll at least get to 2-star, but at 19%, he never had any chance, so that's a good one to take out as well. Hopefully can help to improve the overall genetics in this area, and we'll just continue up through here. At least we found whitetail pretty quickly. You know, not often do I find that the zone locations directly lead to us finding herds of deer, but this is now twice in a row. The last herd of whitetail, we were moving towards, I gotta find it on the map, I think it was this icon, and we were able to encounter them down in here. Now we have this herd of deer going towards the rest zone, and they are very visible, so we'll get in close and kind of see what's there. I wouldn't be surprised if I've never actually seen this herd and just picked up the zone, so I want to make sure there's nothing kind of below the hill or behind some brush that we can't see. And I do think, once again, we have a pretty obvious deer that we have to take out. It's a 2-star mature, which again is more so what I tend to see with the whitetail. A lot of times they at least get to 2 stars, and we're probably gonna have to wait for him to step out, but a lot better than that last one at 19%. The thing I kinda don't like is most of the deer are moving down into the trees, and that is going to make for a tougher shot. Now, I believe if you shoot any animal in the skull, they will insta-drop even if you don't hit the brain, and it's kind of tempting at least to try to just do that and make sure we get this guy. I'm not sure why he's standing so still when the rest of the deer aren't. This guy's kind of doing the same thing. But I don't know, maybe we just go for that. It kind of worked out poorly on a bighorn one time when we shot a 4-star thinking that it wasn't going to get bigger, and I think it was 96%, but nothing really negative can come out of this. It may cost us a little bit in terms of the sell price, but I don't think there's much meat wasted from a shot like that. So call it a time saver or a genetic saver, whatever you want to call it. It's not something we do all that often, but we actually hit the brain, so I guess good on the shot placement. 56% as a mature, about the same as the elk earlier. Decent looking rack in comparison. Obviously he was a 2-star with the trophy rating wasted since we shot through the skull, but good to get him out of the herd as well. Now some of you may recall a hunt from probably a little over a month ago where we went around and shot I think 3 different 4-star mule deer that I just thought were probably not going to reach 5 stars, and this is another one that at the time we passed, but I just don't think he's going to get there. He looks really gray, and I've been watching this one for a very long time, and I've generally stayed out of the far southeast just because we shot those 2 5-stars, everything else down there wasn't looking that good, and I thought we'd give them time to maybe grow, and I wanted to just roam around today and see if any of them had done that, but I think this guy needs taken out. I think he's getting too close to probably dying of old age. So if we can get a shot opportunity, we'll try to get either a frontal heart shot, or maybe if he goes broadside we can go for that. But I mean, you just compare. You see the more brownish color of these guys versus the much grayer color he is? I'm pretty certain he's getting quite old. That may be our shot opportunity. I'd like him to kind of lift his head a little more, because that kind of presents some neck flesh we'd have to go through. That, however, was our opportunity. Took a little bit longer than I would have liked to kind of get centered there, but dropped him in his tracks. And I think, regardless, it will probably be one that goes into the trophy lodge. I've been going ahead and taxing the 4-stars mostly. Again, there's a pretty good reason for that. In the perks, if I can remember where that's at, you get 50 animals taxonized in your trophy lodge, and it extends your space by 30%. I assume on both maps, I actually don't know that for sure, but anytime we get that chance to throw something that's still going to look good in the lodge, I figure we might as well do that and try to increase our space. But as for this guy, which again, anytime you shoot an animal that looks great and then you get up to them, they look a lot more brown. I don't know why that is. I still think he is probably pretty old, and we shall see. As far as the genetics, obviously hit him directly in the heart that time, not due to any bolt expansion, which is normally what happens. He was 82%, so it's going to be a little bit too low to get to 5-star. Normally it seems you need 85, 86 at the bare minimum, so that was a good deal. We'll tax that, and at least one little addition for our lodge as we continue through here. I even think, I'm pretty sure I know exactly where I want that to go. I'm just now remembering this, by the way. I wanted to address the fact that we're not looking at the brown bear today, because I do know they can be hunted on the development branch right now, and my reasoning was, as we're into October now, I figured what little time we can put into Way the Hunter should be done on our main game. You can't actually switch between and keep your save file, so we would have had to switch to a fresh save in order to do that. So when they're fully released, we'll be hunting them for sure, but for now I thought we'd stick with what we can kind of continue to progress with. Now that's a promising sight. A 3-star mature whitetail there. We've got some other ones in here too that I thought had decent antlers. That's a 1-star. I'm almost certain I saw another one that looked pretty decent. 2-star adult there looks good. And another 2-star adult. I thought there was one other in there even still. But regardless, these are all right down there where we shot the 4-star mule deer. I had to rest back to morning. It was getting past 7 p.m. in the previous evening. And coming back here and catching these guys out in the open, this was an area where we had whitetail in the past, and none of them were all that good, and kind of slowly but surely, we've shot a bunch of them and seemingly started to really improve the genetics. So we will at least try to see if any of these need to be taken out. Maybe that one there? That's a 2-star mature. I think that's going to be the move, and real quick, maybe that was it? No, there's a 4-star mature in there. I knew I saw one other decent one. That is really, really encouraging. I so hope that guy makes it. And it looks very similar to the 4-star that we shot that ultimately was a 92%, I think, on the first day of having the game. That said, that's the 4-star. That is the 3-star. I don't have a clue where the 2-star went. Wait. There's 2 4-star matures in here. This herd is going to need to have serious attention. Whitetail have a very short lifespan, so we cannot have a bunch of time passing and not check this herd several times over. I still don't know. That's the 2-star mature there. I think he's going to get into the trees before we can get a shot off. And I don't even know where they're going, but I am as hyped as I've been for a herd of anything in this game as I've been for anything thus far. So that right there is the 2-star mature, and I'm really strongly considering just hitting him with the 300 to try to make sure he goes down, and I think probably we will do that. The angle's weird, and I just want to make sure we can actually get him, and I'll explain why as we watch some of these bigger ones run off. There is a pretty strong theory out there, and I've talked about this in probably at least the last video, if not the last two, that essentially it seems as though there's some correlation with the animals that spawn in a herd and the ones that are actively in that herd. It would make sense, it would be realistic, and if that's the case, there's a chance that by shooting this 2-star mature, whatever respawns will have more similar genetics to those big ones that are still alive. Again, I really don't know if that's the case, but if it is, it's certainly worth exploring by taking this guy out. And he was 54%. I actually like this rack a lot. This particular side, I've only seen it a couple of times, and even though it's not the best looking, I just think it's fairly realistic with a, subpar genetic deer. But the reason I went 300 there, not only was the angle to make sure that we could get him down, but also because there were no deer behind him, and I wanted to ensure that we did not have some kind of pass-through and end up clipping one of those 4-stars. So with that shot opportunity being there, even though it wasn't the best angle, I thought, quick 300 shot, get him down, and make no risk of hitting those. There's also a bug right now, where if you shoot an animal when it is a lower star rating, and then end up taking it later on and actually killing it, it shows up in the trophy lodge as what it was when you shot it the first time, and not the second time. So definitely do not want to be having any of those issues at the moment. So I mentioned at the beginning of this that I really hadn't been in this far southeast corner in a while, just kind of wanting the animals to hopefully age a bit and just see what would happen, and I think that is part of why those whitetails seemingly came out of nowhere. I just haven't been down here in quite some time. As for the mule deer in this area, not so impressive, and I really think this kind of shows what the influence of shooting the big animals in a herd and not shooting any of these small ones actually has. It seems to me that there were no high genetic potential animals left as we shot some of those 5-stars at the beginning, and now we're left with a bunch of kind of average ones. So maybe that 2-star mature back there is one that we can take, just while he is actually broadsiding in the open. Kind of took a step forward as we shot, but I think we still got him good. That is him right there starting to stumble. And I mean, there's a couple around here that look okay, but nothing like what it was at the beginning with, I think there was like the 2 5-stars that we got, a couple of 3-stars, 4-stars. All of those have either been shot eventually. I think we took 2 4-stars from here that were 79 and 81%, something like that. Or they've, I guess, just died of old age. But I'm really happy with that herd of whitetail. That was the main thing today. Even if we didn't take a 5-star, just exploring around looking for herds with potential. And I'm hoping, even though it's into October, real life hunting season, there's going to be less time to actually play the game between now and next week. But hopefully by a week from now, something like that, we can have enough days pass to see what those bucks become. As for our 2-star mature here, I am actually kind of intrigued to see what the percentage ends up being. We did double lung him, even though it's kind of in the back of the lungs. 61%, I would still say that's above average for most of the mature animals that we shoot. I feel like mid-50s is normally kind of what we see, so we'll sell that. We'll go back with our new 4-star mature for the trophy lodge for now, and we'll at least see if we can, add that somewhere, and hopefully, as I said, going forward, we can start to throw some 5-star whitetail in there. But basically, this had been my plan all along, and I couldn't remember for sure if it was a mule deer, but I thought that it was. At this little fireplace here, the way that the mounts work, you can't actually choose the direction they face, but luckily, whitetail happened to face to, I guess it would be their right, and mule deer happened to face to their left. And while it's not as even as I would like, I think that still looks pretty decent. We may ultimately do 2 mule deer here. The nice thing about mule deer, since they are looking that direction, shouldn't clip through the fireplace no matter what. If we look really closely here, this whitetail is as close as you could get without actually clipping through, and it is a 4-star. I imagine a 5-star probably would, and I do like the look of this. Ultimately, I don't know what's going to happen. Putting like a moose here would kind of hide them, so I'll have to make a decision there, but that was a really productive hunt. A 4-star that kind of adds to our trophy lodge and gets one more step closer to improving the amount of storage we have for trophies in here. But finding that herd of whitetail, without a doubt, that was the highlight of the hunt. And like I said, hopefully a couple more hunts, a few days in Game Pass, we can take a look and see what they become. There may be 2, there may be 3 in that herd that get to 5 stars. I think the 2 4-star matures have really good odds. And between a couple of 2-star adults and that 3-star mature, maybe one of them can get there as well. And if we can continue to manage as we go along, things like the 2-star mature we shot today, maybe that will help that herd give us even better things. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.